probably other people are, and they don't have the qualified people here to answer the questions. That's what blows my mind. I'm being quite honest. Don't waste people's time. If you want to organize a meeting and you want to answer comments, we need engineers and architects, not we'll get back to you. That's all I'm saying. I know that building is wrong. Physical design is wrong.
That's everybody that I have written down. Does anybody else wish to speak? You can state your name and address on the record, or you can come up here and sign. Sir, you're the first one I saw. Just your name and address.
Ryan Gallagher, 71 Horton Road.
I'm sorry, one more time.
Ryan Gallagher, 71 Horton Road. Most of my issues have been addressed. The storage tank under the parking lot, the lot line erasure. One thing that nobody's addressed though is water. Putting in 28 unit apartments, that's going to put a big strain on the water system. Has any consideration been given? That's all I got.
Thank you. I think you.
Yes, hi.
You spoke already, so I'm just gonna let her go.
My name is Doreen, and you want the last name?
Yes,
It's
please.
difficult. U-H-T. I wasn't planning on speaking on anything, but I just wanted to say that I agree with a lot with my concerns. But just to answer to, he had said that this has been going on for 2 years, and we had opportunity to speak about it. Well, I just signed for this letter that I had to that was certified to me. I just signed for it last week. It's the first I've heard of this.
Yep.
I just wanted to let you know that.
First time I got it.
Was not told to us 2 years ago, because I would have started fighting then.
I know.
I'm just gonna see if anybody else wants to speak first. Does anybody who hasn't gotten a chance to speak would like to speak for the record? Yes.
My name is Monica Morrow, 98 East Main Street. I've lived here my whole life, 75 years, so I've seen lots of changes compared to most of you. When I was young, I could ride to the village on my bicycle and not see a car, okay? Back here was all farms. This building is now Village Hall because the original Village Hall, the last one flooded.
That's right.
In this flood,
Yep.
this is a picture of the house in question in the last flood in
Yep.
2011.
Yep.
I've seen 4 of these in my lifetime from when I was a kid, okay? It is a floodplain,
Yep.
totally, there's no doubt about it. And it's not gonna go away, just because you're gonna build something like that in that spot. It's gonna make it worse.
Yep.
Because all the water runs off from the houses down, underneath, and over to the movie. And it hasn't been fixed in the 75 years I've lived here, so I don't think that's gonna attribute to it at all. Thank you.
Thank you. This lady has not spoken yet, so I'm gonna let anybody who hasn't spoken yet. Yes,
Rebecca Pagan, it's Pagan, and I live at 8 Congress Drive.
Yeah, take a picture.
So in addition to the concerns with the traffic and the overtaxation of resources like power and water in our village, I think that the dense population increase is going to have an impact, probably negatively, on the school and the children who are in school right now. I'm also from New York City, and we moved up here many, many years ago, and I have children in the school district, and one of the reasons we came up here was for smaller class sizes for our children. And we've seen such a huge influx of people moving in over the last couple of years because of COVID, people trying to come to a quieter community, and the class sizes have already started increasing. With these double buildings, there's going to be such a huge increase all at once. I don't think it would really be fair to our children. I think that it would be very negatively impactful to the school system. Class sizes, individual time for the kids, things like that.
thank you for your comments. Anybody else who hasn't had a chance to speak would like to speak for the record?
This gentleman wants to speak.
Yes, I know, Mr. Palmer didn't speak, so anybody else? I just want to give them the opportunity. Okay, Mr. Palmer, you used about
Okay,
half of your
so-
time, so I'm going to give you 2 minutes.
You got it. Okay, so I'm happy that I came here tonight. I've lived here for 35 years in the town and been active in the community, baseball, Little League, ambulance corps. I know that that intersection can absorb no more traffic. And the cost to change the whole thing, we don't want to bear it. Us people here, number one. The flood zone, that place is going to flood, and we're going to bear it through federal taxes or whatever. So I say that this gets struck down just on those two. And I would like to get everybody together somehow, and can we have a vote on this? That's my question, the town people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we
Vote on this, but nobody in here supports this, as far as I see.
Just
The
ask.
planning board members
Okay,
have the jurisdiction and authorization pursuant to state law to
okay.
vote on development projects. So this board, with the chairwoman, who usually is up there, she's recused on this application, and one more member are the voting members who decide whether or not the site plan approval and lot line removal will be approved or denied.
Yeah, so that means that my say means nothing unless I talk to them and get a whole mess of people behind me with other people.
We
Is
did it
that your
before.
way of saying that to me?
We're behind you.
Your public, this is your
Okay,
opportunity to be heard,
So we
sir.
want to get people together, and as far as I can see in here, this it does not go through based on the flood potential, which is going to happen, and two, the traffic situation. It's a horse and buggy intersection. Russ Halleck was the sheriff that stood there in the original house that's there as the first cop in town. Okay, 208, north and south, 94, okay? And that is not the appropriate model, business model for over in that section.
Thank you,
And that's
Mr.
it.
Palmer. Thank you for your comment.
Are we allowed to ask
Yes.
about the approval and why should we approve?
She previously recused herself, it's on the record. Yes.
Hi, my name is Patty Boland, and I live in Canterbury Circle. I just have a statement to make. If this project is going on 2 years ago, I take exception to you saying, where were you? We would have been here when this was doing that.
That's right.
It's obvious to me that the people in this room have very, very high emotions about this project. But I'm begging you to listen to us. I'll go with you, whatever you need. I think we should all get together, because obviously, things are going on that we don't know about. And I take exception to you saying, where were you? I'm being really
Do I have any time?
What was her name now?
Joan Tumulty?
I believe you did.
Okay, so instead of asking me to go through absolutely every record for 2 years, can I ask why there's an approval?
She's asking about the chairwoman's recusal.
The applicant is a real estate agent, I am a real estate agent. He and I had some real estate referrals, and when I realized he was a part of this application, I notified the attorney and told her that it would be unfair for me to continue being a decision-making member on this board and participate in the vote, being that we had real estate business conducted outside, which was legal, on paper, totally fine.
Do you participate in any discussions on this?
I do
No.
not.
That's why she's removed from the dais.
I understand that part, but I mean in
Do you
day-to-day,
represent
BAU, business as usual.
61 Main Street LLC as a realtor?
I do not represent 61 East Main Street as a realtor, and in fact, the two potential real estate transactions that would have taken place from those referrals did not take place. They never resulted in a closing. I never received any sort of money or compensation from those potential referrals, and they are not active anymore. But because they took place, the right thing to do was to notify the attorney and remove myself from the decision-making portion of the board so that it would not seem improper to the public.
As
Thank
a
you.
realtor, I've never heard of a potential referral. What is a potential?
Potential
referral?
closing. If the referral was actual, the closing is potential because it doesn't take place.
So you didn't take any, you were part of the referral and got no compensation?
Correct, because it never closed. and it never resulted in a sale.
Yes.
Very brief. I want to applaud you for recusing yourself. No one had to know about that, and you did what you needed to do, so you did the right thing.
Thank you.
But the fact of the matter is that the agendas of the boards in this village are almost never publicized in an appropriate time for people to recognize what's going on and for them to attend. I don't mean just the planning board, I mean the ZBA and the board, Mr. Bucko. You have to let the people know so that when they're concerned, they can show up, because they are concerned, obviously. And I've been to some meetings, I haven't been to a lot, I do live in the town, but I'm through the village all the time. And the village is part of the town. You have got to let the people know the agendas of your meeting more than 24 hours ahead of time, and this village does not do that. So I hope you will reform your notification, because look at what happens when you do. Thank you very much.
Does anybody have comments on 61 East Main Street, the project that's before the board? Yes.
Just have a quick question.
Just,
Laura Creighton, Quigley Court in Washingtonville. I might have missed something, but when exactly is the question and answer meeting for this particular project? Is there a date for that? Because you're not allowed to answer any questions or get any answers tonight. So when do we come back to ask the questions, to get the answers?
New York State law, pursuant to the secret regulations, require a public hearing. It does not require a public Q&A session. So the board is meeting its obligations pursuant to state law and doing a public hearing, which is a public comment period.
They said that they'd bring back the answers.
You said this is not for question and answers, that's another meeting.
Correct.
And then there'll be the Corps of Engineers as well.
The attorney said he was, his engineer was gonna be back to answer all our questions.
That is because that's what they want to do. I'm just explaining to you what the Village of Washingtonville Planning Board, because I represent only the Village of Washingtonville Planning Board here, as to what we're obligated under law to do.
So there's no actual meeting where we can come in and ask questions and get answers from the builders or anything like that.
Let me try to clarify the process a little bit if I can. And what's going to happen here is we're writing down.
If everybody can be quiet so we can listen, please. Thank you.
We're writing down your comments, and we're going to, whether we're required to or not, we are going to respond, not to you, but to the planning board. And that will be a public record. Okay? And at the next meeting, when you're in front of the planning board, our responses are going to be discussed, as will your further comments.
So there's actually
But
no
that's
question
going-
and answer.
But there's no question and answer, but you're going to get answers.
Is there engineers on that panel? Is there engineers and architects on the panel to ask these questions, very specific questions?
Because we have to vote on it.
Is there anybody else with comments in regards to 61 East Main Street?
When you get your answers, are you going to publicize when that meeting is going to be?
We're
So
gonna,
you
Every
can't
single meeting
say,
is
where were you
publicized.
2 years ago?
And every single meeting is publicized, every single meeting is filmed as well.
Where is it publicized?
The village website, she said, on the newspaper as well, at the village.
public
ads.
hearings are.
How about a robocall?
At the public hearing.
Is there a date that says when they have to have a
We're not gonna be able to help anybody if nobody's listening, so can you just take a second, please? Everybody back up, cool down, 1 second, please. The next public hearing is going to be voted tonight by the board. It's going to be voted on by tonight by the board, so all of you folks will have notice of that public hearing. I'm also letting all of you know that it's going to be published in the official newspaper of the village, which I believe to be the Times Herald Record, so it's also going to be published in the Times Herald Record. That's going to be the next meeting. If you want to keep up with business in general, I can tell you that the Village of Washingtonville tapes all their meetings and posts it on their YouTube website. Also, the village website has a calendar that stays as active as possible, including cancellations of meetings when possible, to notify you. So if that's how you want to stay up to date, that's how you keep up to date. You received, in response, some people received notices of a public hearing tonight because village code requires certain property owners within a certain amount of feet to receive actual mailing notice of a public hearing, which is different than a public meeting. They are correct in saying that all our meetings are public meetings as required by open meetings law of New York State.
Are we gonna get a certified letter now?
No. You received, if anybody received a certified letter, that was your notice.
Why
Now,
were we given that letter now and not other times?
for the public hearing, that was it's the requirement that you receive notice of a public hearing by certified letter pursuant to the village code.
Now, we said it was not, all this was done over the past 2 years. We never received anything in the past 2 years.
That's correct. You would not have received certified mailing notice, but there is these meetings in general are published. And
So this is, we're not gonna be able to talk to the engineers, we're not gonna get any of our answers
as I stated previously at the beginning of the meeting, we're going to be adjourning this public hearing. That's my advice to the board. I don't make any decisions. My advice to the board is to adjourn this public hearing because we have outstanding matters that need to be addressed. So because of that, I'm requesting that you adjourn the public hearing and when everybody here is done.
As long as
And
nobody
that's
has
another
any more
public.
comments.
I have one more comment.
Hold on.
Main Street directly.
I have one more comment.
Mr. Palmer, you used up all your time. I'm sorry.
Joe Bucko, could we, all of us here, could you put a list so we could throw all our names in?
We are, I got one going around. There's one going around.
Okay.
Motion to?
No.
This is for the board.
With respect to your positions, how are you qualified to make this decision? Okay, that's, what background do you have?
None.
Does anybody else have
None.
comments? Thank you.
This is on video.
Email, selfie.
Does anybody else wish to comment?
Does this work?
Everybody, if you could please, there's still an active meeting going on, and the board has to conduct business, including scheduling the next public hearing. Please keep your voices down. Our next meeting is June 28th.
Guys,
28th, the next meeting.
that's the meeting on.
When's the next meeting? I'm sorry.
The next meeting is June 28th, but I'm suggesting that this be extended and adjourned to July 12th at 7 p.m.
Why would you do that? Because summer people go on vacation, why don't you just keep it to June 28th?
I suggest you just vote no on it.
Why, excuse me, why would you do that? Why would you have it in the summer when people are on vacation with children?
She's extending it to July 12th.
Guys, dude, if you're gonna talk outside, let me go on the meeting so we can finish this talk. Thank you.
That's fine. That's fine. The applicant is requesting additional time to review all the comments and to have Mr. Morganti included in it because obviously he's sick, so he needs time to recover and everyone else. So we have August 9th and August 23rd. Preference for the board. You need a quorum, so all three of you. Can you commit? Okay. I'm available either one. The 9th?
Yeah, Tuesday, August 9th, 7 p.m.
Tuesday, August 9th.
To make a motion to adjourn the public hearing until August 9th, 7 p.m.
The public hearing, yes.
Public hearing.
Yes.
All in favor?
Get your name on it.
Yes, sir. We have for another location. Obviously, that's the right entrance. She made a motion to change.
People mentioned if they submitted emails, is that going to be matter of public records, their emails? Because I sent one and nobody ever recognized it.
Hold on, wait. Everybody, please, keep your voices down. We are still conducting a meeting. Thank you.
Before we adjourn, just make an announcement. The next meeting will be on, in August, Tuesday, the 9th at 7 p.m.
That's the public hearing.
That's the next public hearing, but
The next meeting
our
is June
next
28th.
meeting is Tuesday, June 28th at 7 p.m.
What's on the agenda?
Agendas aren't set yet.
What are they coming back with this?
Who's going to be here on the 28th of August?
Motion to adjourn. All in favor? Aye. Thank you guys for coming tonight. We really appreciate your comments. We really mean that.
Yes, we did.
Or last time. It's a waste. I know, Woodcock, if you live in the village, you can pay the village of Washingtonville.
I know the yeah, no, she's town Woodcock. You know, I know all the right. That's town. That's town, that's all town.
Right, I just wanted to make sure it's going on.
I don't think there was a But it does exist. It is something that exists.